The next video request is from Rajendra Prasad. Hi Zoltan, make a video about success and the role luck, genes, right childhood plays in success. Okay, so first let me show you a word. Please. So you can add this word, please make a video, or another, could you make a video. So I would talk mainly about the word success, not on the luck part, maybe at the end. So success is a very tricky word. So failure, success, because there is a lot of things behind this that is not so obvious. So you can think like this as an absolute word, success or failure. But it's super subjective and it's relative. And there is a time dimension of this one. So success in what time framework? So let's say you train for a sports event and you are not a winner. No, but yeah, in this time frame, from that aspect that you want to win but you didn't win, you can say that you were not successful. But okay, this was maybe a preparation to be a world champion in 10 years. So in this case, so the time frame is very important. And also you have a definition, and usually when people talk about success, they use this as a very specific, very narrow, that financial success, or maybe success in a relationship, or in a political career, that's success. But I would suggest to think in a bigger picture and as big as you can. So in my case, I usually define success as for an individual, so not the person's family or the country, and in their lifetime. So not after they die and what happens to their family, what happens to the country if we talk about a ruler. And in this case, so by my thinking, I am very aware of this, that I focus on individual success or failure and in the whole lifetime. So not in this one. Yes, of course we can talk about that he was fired from a very good job, now he's a failure. But I'm not talking about this. Because even if, yeah, maybe this could lead something that you had a very good job, you are fired, and then you feel that, oh, I'm a failure, I cannot. But maybe 10 years later, because of this event, it changed your life. You started to develop yourself, you created new opportunities, and you became more successful. So it's always relative, always subjective. There is always a dimensional that in success in something. So let's say that actually I wanted to create a topic today before this request came, to talk about that how success is much more a system outcome and emergent from a system, and you should think about the system. Because let's say if you feel envy or look down people or look up people, you feel superior, inferior, envy, or you feel very proud of yourself. So it's always because you narrow down from a perspective. So let's say there was a very famous singer, very young, died at a very young age, Buddy Holly in the US. So he created a lot of songs before the age of 21 and very famous. I like his songs. But yeah, in one perspective we can say that he was a very famous musician. But to be a famous musician, a lot of things comes together as a package. Stress, a lot of trouble, and actually he died in a plane crash because he had to go. So it's, if you want to be famous, there is a package. And also a lot of musicians, the partying and the drugs. And if you look at the average age of the musicians, famous musicians who die, they are much younger than the average life expectancy of the people in that country, for example. So it's always a package. Success in business, yeah, this person maybe became a millionaire, very successful in business, but maybe he has a lot of health problem because he focused to be successful in one area of life but ignored the other and maybe divorced. Okay? Or somebody can be very successful, let's say a man with women, but then get some different disease. So always look at the picture, so don't feel inferior. Yeah, so you feel inferior or miserable when you compare yourself to another person and you look at just, oh, what in that aspect, that person is better than me. That is total useless and stupid comparison. Yes, maybe that person has more money or has a better husband or wife. Yeah, better house, bigger house. Yeah, you can compare this, but look at the whole package, and a lot of area of life probably you are more successful. So actually comparing yourself to other people, it's not really useful. If you want to compare yourself, compare to learn that, oh, that person is very successful in business. What can I learn from that person? Now, in this case it has, but just to feel superior or inferior to other people, you feel pity about yourself or you feel, oh, I'm much better. That is ridiculous and you should avoid. Also, you can talk about success that I am more successful now than before. Now it has more sense because it gives a kind of motivation that actually most of my video is about how to become more successful. And I'm talking about usually that accept your present situation and improve yourself, but of course not on the expense of other part of your life, but in all together. So for me, success is about improving myself, being capable to adapt to the changing world, and becoming more and more successful at least one part of my life compared to me in my past performance, without paying too much price in the other aspects of my life. Yes, of course you want to be better. Maybe you pay money for a course to learn, and of course in this case you sacrifice some of your money. And yes, you want to work a lot of times, and sometimes it has stress element. And but the main point that if you overpay, let's say you ignore your signals from your body that you have health problem and you work too much and you're stressful and you don't rest enough, so it doesn't work, for me at least. So the question was about the luck part, and also back to this success, for me is about life or activity is always about exchanging my assets including my health, mental and physical health, money, friendship. So whatever you do, you use time, money, health, maybe you ruin some friendship, and all together use this, you create new assets, maybe more money, maybe new friendship, maybe better health. So the question is that how you optimize all of this, that from your perspective, not just present perspective, but from your future perspective until the end of your life, you will you will feel that you are increasing the total value of your asset. Okay, so when we talk about success, I like to use this definition that success is continuously increasing the total value of your asset. And asset doesn't mean money only, it means friendship that you enjoy, health, and mental freshness, everything. So this is the first part. Success is about improving yourself, being able to change the world and achieve a lot of things without sacrificing too much that you will regret. Not just the present time, not but from the future. That actually I mentioned in other videos that I have this interesting theory that imagine that you have a meeting with all of your future versions. So now I am 57, so I have a big room and I I am there with the present me, 57, the 58, 59 until 100 years old. So I don't know, it's 42, 43 people, 44 people together, and we talk about life, looking back, and I want to listen to the 97 years old me. What does he have to say about the 57? So when I adjust my life, when I do something, I like, of course I don't do it all the time, but sometimes I like this perspective that ask my future myself to give advice to me. What should I do? What should I focus on? What should I not to do? What kind of people to avoid? Who are the people I should make friends? And what to do with my health and eating habits and sleeping habits. So if I listen to everybody, instead of just my present me, then I can have a more balanced perspective from different parts. And if you're thinking that you extend the definition of success to, let's say, your family, or let's say if you're a politician, maybe for your country, then of course you can involve these other peoples in your mental game to define your success. And how will my children think about my actions 20 years later? So success is that nobody really complains, that everybody is a kind of complexity thinking. You have to involve a lot of elements, that a lot of time frames and a lot of dimension of your life, and then we can talk about success. So success is improving different elements, okay? And the question was about luck and the genes, okay? So I like to think about this, that there are some things I can control in my life, let's say 100%, and other things I can control maybe 80%, 20%, 5%, and something 0%. So I have absolute no control. And even when we talk about luck, I have two different definitions of luck. One, luck is that it's impossible to control and prepare for, total out of, and the other is that at this level I believe that I cannot control, so I call it luck. But a lot of times it's luck because I didn't have knowledge. I know somebody who's always talking about this person is fat and unhealthy, and even 30 years ago she had this theory that, oh, I am fat, I cannot do anything, my mother was fat and died early, it's the genes. So she had this total beliefs that the genes determine 100% of her health outlook. So she actually doesn't, well, maybe she does something, so probably she believes a little bit that she can do something. But the difference between people, or different thoughts, that some people overestimate the influence on things, and actually they believe that they can. So this is especially very clear in the New Age movement, when they really believe that you just have to imagine, you have to focus, and then you can manifest it into your life. So those people are overestimating the capabilities of their minds. Now, but the majority of the people, they underestimate the things, in most cases, what they can do. They just don't believe, they don't know. Okay, I give an example. Around 2007, before 2007, I didn't believe that if I create a website, I can attract people, because there's so many people who teaches the same things that I teach, and creating a website, it's impossible. I have no chance that I will be on the first or second or third page. But anyway, I had a website, I didn't care about it, it was very ugly, totally useless. But one day somebody called and wanted to come to my course, and that created a total new beliefs in my mind, and it changed my mind, and I spent a lot of years to learn everything about website. I learned PHP programming language, CSS, HTML, Google advertisement, search engine optimization, everything really. And so I would say that there was some element of luck, but also about my ignorance about the I didn't try to experiment. So if we can say that maybe I was lucky that somebody called, but I was prepared. So luck is very, very difficult to understand. It's very similar to success and failure. That we can say that, okay, a lot of times we think that it's just a coincidence. Yes, sometimes it happens, but sometimes we just don't know, we don't recognize that we have some power. And I think most people, or I would say everybody in some aspects of life, they underestimate their own mental contribution to things that happens to them. Now, so back to that question, that how luck and childhood experience and gene influence. We have a lot of examples in real life that Stevie Wonder was blind and became successful in music. So let's say just focus on the in music aspect and maybe money, he became successful. Helen Keller was blind and deaf and everything from almost age 1 or 2, and she became also successful. So I would look at this, that the question is not focusing on this one. So I think that it's much better if you don't think about this topic. Is a question is much more about that. One is that given what I have, let's say my childhood experiences and my gene, let's say I am disabled or have something, yes, of course, it's a disadvantage, but the question is that now what can I do? So even if in this case, let's say somebody is blind, if they think that, okay, I'm blind, I cannot really do anything now, maybe the technology will bring some solution, but is that how can I utilize this situation? How can I adapt to the situation and accept this and focus on what I have? So this is one approach, that what I have and how can I optimize my life based on this. But even better if you start to see that what I want in the future, so give up the present limitations and focus on the future. Because this question for me shows that the person is thinking too much about the past. And yeah, of course, it influences everything, but what's the point? Focus on the future. That look at your life now. What do you really want to achieve in different aspects of your life? What do you need? What assets do you need? What skills do you need? How much money do you need? What are the people you need to achieve? Focus on that one, not about whether somebody's life was influenced by some gene mutation, or they had some very bad childhood. And actually a lot of times what seems to be a very bad childhood helps the child to cope. A lot of successful people were abandoned by the parents, or the parents died and lived in foster homes or different institutions. And yes, it broke some people and had a very miserable life, but for other people it was a way to train for accepting hardship, and they fight. Even I know somebody from 30 years ago, that person had really bad childhood. The father was always drunk and hit the people in the family. But she developed some skills to observe people because she had to really understand the father's reaction. So she became very good at observing people and how to react. So even if you had very bad childhood, okay, I mean bad, you can think about this, that bad childhood was an opportunity to train yourself to have some special skills that compensated to adopt. And then now, 30, 40, 50 years later, you can utilize these kind of things. So I would say that don't think about this topic, that how childhood and bad genes or maybe good genes influence people's life, because it doesn't matter. The only real question is that from now, forget everything about the past. Look into the future. What do you want? What are you willing to give up? How do you want to optimize the different aspects of your life, and how many years in the future do you think and do this? So don't think too much about other people's success except to learn from them. Don't look at other people when you think that from some aspects they are more miserable than you. You can look at sometimes your past, but basically focus on the future.